Welcome to In the Garden with Margie. And today what I want to do is actually take you through a tour of our garden and show you what's worked out well and what hasn't quite worked out well. We're going to start over here with the squash. This is the white scallop squash. And the thing about squash is you pretty much can't go wrong. This thing is gigantic. There's two there, actually. We transplanted some of the red onions so we could separate them out, planted a new load of lettuce, and then also transplanted one of the banana peppers. And the banana peppers, the biggest thing is we've got something that's eating the leaves, but it looks like we're going to get some good banana peppers out of it. Over here on the next row, as you might be able to see, this is where we have the beans. Now, let me tell you about the beans. Last year, I grew pole beans and they turned out great. The year before and this year, I grew bush beans. They don't turn out so great. So I went ahead and I planted some more seeds. It might be September before we might get beans. I sure hope so because we had a lot of beans last year. And then we have two different kinds of cucumbers. Now these cucumbers plants are looking really good, but they're growing smaller than in previous years. And that's okay. One of our favorite things is I make a cucumber salad. It's really, really good. The other thing I want to mention about the cucumbers is we had about a good month straight of rain. And so we have all these little mealybugs in here. So with these particular cucumbers, what I did is I got a bunch of pieces of wood and I lifted it up off the ground because those stupid little mealybugs were eating the cucumbers. Now let's come on over here and look at the corn. And the corn's gotten tall, as you can see. It tends to. But I gotta say, the corn on this side of the garden doesn't get as tall as on the other side of the garden. Also, probably because of all the rain, I noticed there was something eating the silks. Now the silks right now are looking good and we're getting a little less rain. We might end up with rain again today. But at least it gives the corn and the whole garden a little bit of time to dry out just a bit. I've picked a couple, but it's still a little early. Then let's come on over here to the other side of the garden. And this is where we have carrots. Now, I came out here this morning just to check to see how everything is. And I noticed we've been battling with a gopher. We thought we got rid of it and that keeps coming back and we got rid of it and we thought it came back. But it seems to have pulled some of the greenery of our carrots down into the ground. So I cleaned it up. I stuck a piece of juicy fruit gum down in there and we'll see how it goes. Over here in the next row, what we have are just herbs. We have mint, oregano, basil, more green onions, and rosemary, and it smells great. And also sage. So you can't ever grow too much herbs. But also we were battling with gophers on this row. The next row we have zucchini. Now the zucchini plant this year, I think I mentioned in a separate video that we only planted one plant. I picked some this morning, so there aren't any fresh to show you. But also in the same row, I've planted some Swiss chard. Now it's taken the Swiss chard quite a while to grow, and there's been something eating it, but you can still cut it and eat it. It's really good. And then over here, our final row in the middle of the garden is where originally we had all the banana pepper plants. Now they're starting to look good. They're a little thin, and there definitely is something that's been eating the leaves, But now that the rain has stopped a little bit, it looks like we might get some peppers. I also in this row planted some basil and also some lettuce. And then finally, I want to show you the tomatoes. Now we planted the tomatoes. If you notice, the garden is over there. And this year we planted the tomatoes over a little in a different area. Last year we planted a zucchini over here and it did really well. So the tomatoes, we have two different kinds, and we seem to be, I've gone through them yesterday. I went through them quite a bit because I suspect we have a tomato bug in here, but I can't find it. So when you see little things like this, you know something's in there eating it. But we're going to have a lot of tomatoes. And that's it. That's the garden. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let me know how your garden's going now that we're here in August, and what's worked for you, what hasn't worked, and what topics you'd like to see me cover. And with that, thank you for joining me in the Garden with Margie.